Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and make it yours on our website, thewatchbox.com. Part of a legendary line, and yet somewhat underrated, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona in yellow Rolesaur or yellow gold and steel two-tone is one of the most interesting watches that Rolex makes. A little bit neglected in the era when it seems every Daytona, principally comprised of steel, is flying out of cases and selling aftermarket for double list price. The yellow gold and stainless steel model has a classical and nostalgic look and the unimpeachable quality that you associate with every Rolex Daytona. It's one of my favorites, and I believe a bit of an underrated watch. If any Daytona can be underrated, this is it. Now, the timepiece is 40 millimeters and easy to wear. Technically, we're looking at Rolex reference 116503 in steel and gold. 40 millimeters in diameter, of course, not counting crown guard, or chronograph pushers. Only 12.2 millimeters thick on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It sits and wears easily. A couple of ways you can measure this one. 46.5 millimeters lug to lug if you just measure the case. If you include the end links, it flares out a bit more to 50.6 millimeters, and 20 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs if you want to get adventurous and try an aftermarket strap. The bracelet's a handsome piece. As you can see, it's the Oyster bracelet, so a 3-link design. Solid center links in yellow gold, solid end links you can see in steel and gold. You have polished flanks, you have shoulders of satin finish polished down the center. All removable links are fixed by screws, and you've got a Rolex Oyster clasp with a straight through yellow gold striped combination of polish and satin. And then you've got two separate locking systems. One is a beak and hook system. You hear it click shut, now it's locked. It won't pop open. But to be sure tight, you have a second lock, the clamshell. There's a little kerf underneath so you can dig your fingernail in. And a couple of ways to size this one. As you can see, Easy Link is present and correct. That's 5 millimeters of adjustment. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one removable link. And then if you look, you can see there are actually stationing points inside there that allow you to change the anchoring of the bracelet inside the clasp, move it in and out. So between Easy Link, removable links, and the stationing slots, you can fine tune this one quite easily. The crown is a trip lock, which is nice to see because you typically see that on the 300-meter Rolex watches, not the 100-meter watches like the Daytona. And I've often said I think the Daytona is underrated water-wise. The crowns are screw down, and they are yellow gold to match. The bezel is old school. No ceramic here, no Cerachrom. You're getting solid gold. Inherently more valuable. It's also more beautiful, and it's old school too, as you have a series of lacquered inlays. Everything that say calibration on the bezel is lacquer, and so too is the dial, which is a black gloss lacquer featuring a gilt-style golden print. Let's get a little bit close, give ourselves some more light, and the contrast between the gold and the black is quite dramatic. You can see the big red Daytona script just above the constant seconds at 6 o'clock, the Rolex coronet, all the hands, the polished chaptering components that are metallic, and the hour indices themselves all in yellow gold. Of course, the watch will have a loom shot. Screw out the crown and you can actuate the chronograph. You can leave the chronograph running on this one because of the vertical clutch system, which creates no additional wear and tear when the chrono's running. So if you just like to have center seconds, you can ignore the hours and the minutes. Just leave your chronograph running, and then you read seconds, minutes, and hours from the center. You'll also note that the system starts up without any jump. That's the advantage of a vertical clutch, which has no play in it. The column wheel system is the reason you can hear and feel the actuation. It is very crisp. It's up there with the Zenith El Primero as one of the best in the business. And I have to give credit to Rolex. They built an integrated chronograph caliber that's fairly thin at only 6.5 millimeters thick. Caliber 4130, 72-hour power reserve, bidirectional, automatic winding. It has a stop seconds function, it has the column wheel, it has the vertical clutch, it has a couple of other features too. It's a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. Rolex gets the chronometer certificate for the movement, then cases it up and tests it to no worse than +2, -2 per 24 hours. That's the basis for the superlative chronometer nomenclature. There's also a full balance bridge and a free sprung index for shock resistance. The overcoil hairspring helps the watch to keep excellent time in any orientation. That's how it gets through the multi-position testing of superlative and standard chronometer certification. And it uses a Parachrom Blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy in the hairspring so that it's also highly anti-magnetic. 44 joule automatic movement, and of course everything inside is Rolex. This is a timepiece with immense beauty about it and a subtlety, even a little bit of an underrated underdog status, and that is uncommon in modern Rolex Daytonas, GMTs, and subs, and yet somehow the hottest of the Rolex watches of our moment, the Daytona, has spawned the ultimate Rolex underdog, the steel and gold Rolex Daytona. See it and make it yours on the watch box. Rolex Cosmograph Daytona, steel and gold by day, chromolite blue by night.